Speaking of swinging and missing, though, you know who's missing a lot is the Seattle Mariners offense. They're swinging and missing a lot.
They're missing a lot of pitches.
Yes, and, we don't dive heavy into baseball on the radio program, but we have talked about the Mariners from time to time. They are a close baseball team. We got a lot of Mariner fans out there, and right now, as they sit at the break, currently in first place in their division.
Yes, they are.
They did blow a massive lead in that division, but they're still number one in that division.
They are still technically in first place.
It's still early. A lot of season left to be played.
A lot of season to be left, yeah. And Jerry DiPoto was on yesterday with Brock and Salk, and he was asked about the Mariners' hitting woes and making contact on offense. Here was DiPoto talking about his team's bats, and are they going to look forward with the trade deadline looming to add anything?
We don't make enough contact. That's plain and simple. It's our biggest hickey. It's the area where we need to make the most improvement. It's hard to imagine us going into the postseason and doing damage without improving in that area. And that's the simple truth of it. And that's going to come in some part from the guys that are on our club. And obviously, as we come down here these next couple of weeks with the trade deadline, if we can improve in those areas, we'd like to. I don't know if that's realistic based on right now the congestion in the playoff race and who's going to be available or not available. But we understand that it's a weakness on our team, and that's on me. That's on me for looking at it from the front end of the season and believing that we made enough positive addition to offset what was a strikeout problem a year ago.
I got a couple things here. First of all, I want to start. He says it's the hickey of our team. I always kind of viewed hickeys as a noticeably good thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you guys view it that way growing up? Like,
you prideful if you got a hickey going to school the next day? I'm like, hey.
Or you gave a girl a hickey?
Yeah, look at me. Hey, I did that. That was me.
Hey, there's a mark on her neck.
Yeah, I think
know.
I think I agree with your line of thinking here.
Yeah, he says it in a negative way.
It was always unless you're like you were in a relationship and then somebody had a hickey or you got a hickey. That's when it got dangerous because it's like, hey, where did that come from? I don't know who gave you that hickey.
You were giving and getting hickeys when you were in relationships?
I don't think I've ever given or gotten a hickey, to be honest
Really?
with you. I don't think I ever did. No, I wasn't a big hickey guy. Were you a big hickey guy back in the day?
I gave a couple of hickeys.
Did
yeah.
you? Yeah.
It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm gonna, Dracula
suck your neck. Yeah. It's always kind of a weird move to me of like, all right, mouth's over here. Okay, all right.
Got caught up in the moment. You never know.
They like when you lick the neck a little bit, and then it turns into something else.
That's the ultimate goal.
You got to get the motor started there, Andrew. Anyways, moving on from hickey talk.
Yes.
I find him a fascinating general manager in the team-building conversation, whether it's baseball, basketball, football. I enjoy all of it. I don't know how I'd feel as a radio host if I was doing a show in Seattle with him, because I would fully acknowledge he has hit a grand slam with pitching.
Mm-hmm.
But he continues to do these interviews where he's asked about offense. He goes, yeah, I fell short. I thought this was good enough. And it's like, literally the whole world told you this wasn't good enough.
We all knew their offense would suck.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And so I think Mariner fan, reasonable, realistic Mariner fan, has resigned themselves. And that back end answer of, we'll see. There's a big race. Like, I feel like he's kind of teeing up that he ain't going to do anything.
That's exactly what he's teeing up. This is the setting everybody up for the eventual disappointment that will likely follow. Maybe you get a fringe move here, or you add a number 7 hitter in the lineup, a depth piece, if you will. But they need a household name, and they need a big bat in that lineup in order to compete. And it's funny that this comes on the heels of the All-Star break where you had Teoscar Hernandez win the home run derby. And he was asked by media members in Dallas about, like, what happened last year? Like, how did you go from that to this? And he talked at length about how difficult it is to hit in Seattle. And that's leading a whole new conversation of why is it so hard to hit here? Is it a coaching problem? Is it a prospect problem? Is there something with the ballpark? Is it just the weather? And I saw an interview, I think Bill Kruger was on the Puck Sports podcast last week, and he was talking about the batter's eye and how certain times of the day the batter's eye is too bright and it throws guys off.
Just in T-Mobile?
Just in T-Mobile, and that's why. And then I think Puckett was like, well, what about the early season games where it's cloudy and the roof's closed and there's no sun? It's like, oh, well, we don't really have anything there. There's something weird. They can't hit up there. They tried to fire their offensive coordinator or / hitting coach.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. The idea that the GM could come out and say that I thought I did enough and this was going to be a good offense is fireable and laughable, because everybody with a brain looked at that offense and said they're going to struggle unless Julio has an MVP kind of season, but that's putting way too many chips into one basket. Now is the time to try and be aggressive, and at some point you're going to have to take a risk, and if they're not willing to do it now, good luck to you in the future, man, because there's no guarantee that all these pitchers are going to stay great. There's no guarantee that all these pitchers are going to stay healthy. You have both those things right now. You just need a bat, and it doesn't seem like willing to go out and add one.
Well, I mean, your pitchers can be great. They can stay healthy, but if you don't score more than 2 runs, they'll still lose.
Yes. They did that with Felix Hernandez for 15 years.
Right, and that's why I guess I'm not shocked because of how he's operated. You say fireable comments. I feel like he's made like 5 of them the last couple of years.
I'd say 54% in the offseason should have been it, but, what do I know?
Well, but also, like, again, he's given him such a stout pitching staff. I don't know where Mariner fan is on Jerry DiPoto, if he's on hot seat stuff or what, but they just as a franchise... Does he strike you as somebody who doesn't want to? I just like, how high up does this go with that organization?
That's what you have to
How
ask,
risk averse, I guess, are they as a team is where I always ask. I find myself when we talk about team building things, and Seattle's different than a lot of others, but is this a DiPoto decision?
Yeah.
Or has he been told, nah, we're not giving up all these prospects. We're not paying this new guy this contract. Like, I feel like since and maybe you guys can correct me here. I feel like since the Cano contract, they haven't done that stuff. Am I wrong? Am I blanking on one? Is there one I'm missing?
In free agency?
Yeah, they gave him the bag, and then it just
they didn't do anything
well.
else, and I think that's the most difficult thing for mid to small market Major League Baseball teams is
you consider them a mid to they're in Seattle. That's a good sized city. Like their fans have bought tickets and shown up the last couple of years. I don't feel like they should be hurting for money.
Yeah, what media market is Seattle?
They're like
13, 12, 13.
Just outside the top 10.
They're
that's why I say mid.
Top 10.
But when you
I
talk
guess mid is fair.
When you talk about the big market teams, Seattle never comes up.
Yeah, LA,
you don't
New
say
York,
Seattle.
Boston, Philly.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's
Even
like
though
6 teams.
there might be more population in Seattle than Boston or wherever. No, but they've always gone to, they can make one big deal or maybe 2, one pitcher, one hitter, but it's not like the Yankees or the Dodgers where you then, let's get this guy on top of this guy on top of this guy.
Well, I think part of this has to be development too, right? Because Kelnick is a Brave.
Yeah, I know.
This guy was the guy for years, and it was
having
like
a good year.
He's up, he's down, he's back up, he's down, and a little bit of a slow start with the Braves, but he's starting to catch on now. I don't know. I don't know how to dissect what their problem is and whose fault it truly is. He's the face of it. He's the voice of it.
Yeah,
and
never
he
hear from the owner.
and he doesn't say the right things.
You can't keep apologizing.
No, at some point you got to dig your heels in. I actually wonder that all the time with the Blazers too. We went through the whole Dame thing last year, and we had a GM tell us comments how many times about going all in and going all in. Can't wait to move all in. It's going to make you so uncomfortable. We're all in. That's what we heard for 2 years. And then they obviously did not do that.
They went all out.
They went all out, and they forced their star out.
Yeah.
And I have honestly wondered behind the scenes, I'll never know this, maybe we'll get a tell-all at some point, how much of that was Joe truly wanting to go all in, and the people with the purse strings and the powers that be saying, wait, what?
You want us to spend all this
How
money?
much is this going to cost us? How much is Lillard making?
With tax? You want us to pay a tax?
Luxury tax? Not how about how much do rookie contracts cost? Let's get some rookie contracts. Because that is the tough part and the tough dynamic for a general manager of you're basically doing to a certain extent what you're told, that you're given a direction. You're not going to go add a $400 million player without the ownership's approval, and if they're not signing off on that, you're hamstrung a little bit in what you could accomplish. But when you look at their farm system, their top 3 players are all offensive players. I don't know how close or far away they are, so maybe there's an answer there. But the counter thought to that is 2 of your top prospects play the same position. They're second baseman, middle infielders. You got 2 of them. You can't part ways with one of them. Your other top hitting prospect is a catcher. Cal Raleigh struggles to put the ball in play sometimes, but when he does, he hits dingers, and he's only 27 years old. So are you okay having Cal Raleigh be your catcher for the next 5-6 years and parting ways with your top catching prospect? Like, at some point in this sport, you have to be willing to take swings, literally and figuratively. And when you have prospects like that, they can go make something happen. It's just a matter of how much risk they're willing to take on. There's no guarantee that it's going to work. It's always scary when you trade young players for a guy that you're not sure, will they re-sign? How long are they going to be here? How much of an impact will it actually have? But if you do nothing, I can guarantee you will win nothing. And that's where Seattle's been for a while now.